Human body is typically composed of 23 pairs of chromosomes, 46 in total, which carry and organize our DNA, the genetic material responsible for inheritance and various cellular processes. But one man in history lived without it for 83 days, 83 agonizing days, making him the only human in history to live without a DNA. Hisashi Ouchi, a typical worker in Tokaimura nuclear plant in Japan, a plant that has a past incidence of non-standard safety protocols. But these incidents did not make much noise for the Japan government to shut them down, as the country seeks to reduce nuclear fuel imports, which is very expensive. Ouchi has been working in this facility for 10 years, but despite this long tenure in the facility, he and his co-workers lack the necessary knowledge and training on the possible effects of radiation in human body. One factor to this is that the Tokaimura plant present no training and has a subpar safety protocol. One officer from Greenpeace said that their safety protocols is at par as a bakery. September 28, 1999, Tokaimura plant missed its deadline of generating more nuclear fuel, which makes them more anxious in generating the required amount. So, on September 30th, the plant officials asked 3 of its workers to skip some of the safety steps in order to create the required fuel. Ouchi and 2 of his co-workers started to mix enriched uranium and nitric acid in order to achieve the desired result. However, they did this by using their hands instead of mechanical pump that can accurately measure the required amount of each ingredients. So, instead of pouring 5.3 pounds of enriched uranium into a metal container, which is designed to handle such amount, Ouchi accidentally poured 35 pounds of uranium. The mixture immediately reaches critical mass and a blue flash of light illuminate the room. Ouchi started feeling nausea and vomits profusely. They were immediately brought to the hospital, where they were treated and measured the amount of radiation they received. One of Ouchi's co-workers received 3 sieverts of radiation, the other one received 10 sieverts, and Ouchi received a staggering 17 sieverts. All of these are considered fatal dose. For perspective, human body is only safe to receive a maximum of 100 millisieverts of radiation per year. A typical X-ray only releases 0.01 millisieverts. This meant that Ouchi officially received the highest radiation dosage ever since its discovery. Ouchi's dosage should meant immediate death, but not after experiencing 83 days of hell. Few days after the incident, Ouchi's eyes started dripping blood. His white blood cells are fully wiped out, and he experienced severe damage to all of his major organs. Without any medical intervention, he would have immediately died, as the radiation he received will rip out each molecule in his tissues, molecules that are necessary to sustain biological process in human body. The hospital even created a special ward for him in order to keep him alive. But they soon realized that Ouchi's damage is way beyond what they can deal with. He was then transferred to Tokyo University Hospital, where they perform experimental cancer treatment in order to replenish his white blood cells. Daily skin graft is also being performed in order to keep him protected from the elements. A week in the hospital, Ouchi begged his doctors to let him go. But the doctors and his family refused, holding on to the slimmest hope of his recovery, refusing to sign "Do Not Resuscitate" document. Ouchi effectively became a guinea pig, receiving multiple medical experiments and radiation treatment. At first, these treatments seemed to work as his white blood cells started to climb, but eventually spiraled down. This is due to the severe amount of radiation going through his body that his chromosomes are ripped apart and his DNA can no longer rebuild itself, effectively making him a human without DNA. 59 days into the hospital, he had a heart attack, but his family refused to give up on him and gave instructions to the doctors to resuscitate him. This marks the beginning of multiple back and forth from death and being alive. There was an event that Ouchi had 3 heart attacks in just 1 hour. Each heart attack gives him more and more brain damage. And finally, after 83 days of suffering, on December 21, 1999, one last heart attack and multiple organ failures sent him to edge, the moment he had been waiting for. Weeks after his death, multiple scrutiny fell on the company for failure to provide safety protocols on its employees, and the ethical implications of keeping him alive for 83 days. More people have been identified to have been exposed to high dosage of radiation after the accident. A total evacuation and quarantine around the area have put in place in order to minimize the damage. Ouchi's story left us with a long-standing question in science and morality. Is one life worth sacrificing for the advancement of science? Let us know in the comment section, and please subscribe to this channel.